only a thin layer of Earth's long existence. Yet it reshaped the planet faster than most natural forces. For billions of years, geological processes changed Earth slowly, establishing the stage on which all later events would unfold. The earliest life appeared in oceans, altering the planet's chemistry long before humans existed. Over millions of years, ecosystems diversified, creating stable environments that later supported human survival. Anatomically, modern humans emerged in Africa, shaped by climate variability and resource scarcity. For most of human history, survival depended on mobility, shared knowledge, and close observation of nature. The end of the last ice age brought a rare period of climate stability that altered human possibilities. Agriculture began independently in several regions, allowing food surplus but reducing dietary diversity. Permanent settlements increased population density and introduced new social pressures. Incremental tool improvements accumulated over generations, accelerating human environmental impact. Trade networks linked distant communities, spreading resources, ideas, and diseases. Cities centralized labor and authority, making societies more productive and more fragile. Writing preserved decisions and transactions, extending memory beyond individual lifetimes. Large institutions coordinated labor, but often concentrated power unevenly. Expanding resource use supported growth while increasing environmental strain. Competition over land and resources became a recurring structural feature of societies. Population growth amplified both innovation and systemic risk. By the early modern period, human activity began altering global systems at measurable scales. Energy choices shaped economic capacity and long-term environmental outcomes. Global connections integrated economies while transmitting shocks more widely. Information storage expanded access to knowledge while accelerating social change. Increasing scale brought unprecedented capability alongside heightened vulnerability. As systems grew complex, failures in one area increasingly affected many others. Mechanical technologies increased efficiency, but tied societies more tightly to infrastructure. Humanity approached a turning point where cumulative choices would define long-term planetary conditions. Administrative data allowed large-scale coordination, but required constant maintenance. Long-lived infrastructure reduced flexibility in future energy transitions. Environmental systems absorbed increasing stress without immediate systemic collapse. Environmental indicators began shifting in measurable but gradual ways. Fossil fuels enabled rapid expansion, but locked economies into carbon-intensive pathways. Supply chains increased efficiency while spreading risk across continents. Synchronization enabled coordination while reducing tolerance for disruption. Industrialization concentrated production into centralized systems that depended on continuous energy and material flow. Population growth intensified consumption and infrastructure demand. Standardized measurement improved accuracy, but also narrowed acceptable ranges of uncertainty. Efficiency gains often came at the cost of resilience. Systems continued growing because stopping them carried immediate costs. Transportation networks reduced distance while increasing dependence on synchronized logistics. Urban density improved efficiency, but amplified health, sanitation, and resource challenges. Researchers documented trends, often faster than policy responses developed. Rates of change increased beyond most historical precedents. Finite resources imposed constraints that growth models often ignored. Interdependence meant local disruptions could propagate globally, isn't it? Large systems responded slowly due to scale, investment, and competing priorities. This moment marked not an end point, but a point of evaluation. Human systems reached a condition where future outcomes depended on present choices. Concentration reduced costs, but increased the impact of failure. Humanity gained the ability to observe global systems in near real time. By this stage, small changes carried larger consequences than before. Many outcomes were side effects, rather than explicit objectives. Structural inertia slowed responses despite increasing clarity of long-term risks. By the late 20th century, evidence accumulated that human systems were approaching environmental and material limits. Independent measurements across disciplines began aligning on shared conclusions about systemic change. Economic interdependence limited unilateral action by tying stability to continued throughput. Feedback effects became more evident as changes reinforced one another. Long-lived assets maintained dependence on earlier design choices. Policy responses varied widely, producing uneven outcomes across regions. Risk management began emphasizing resilience alongside efficiency. Learning systems improved response accuracy, but required sustained commitment. Technological adaptation progressed gradually within existing constraints. The pace of change accelerated beyond most prior societal transitions. Progress remained uneven due to resources, governance, and historical pathways. Present conditions reflected the accumulation of countless small decisions over time. But no single decision determined outcomes. Continuity mattered more than moments. Thousands of years compressed into a single, visible outcome. From a long-term view, current changes occurred within a brief historical interval. Safety margins narrowed as demand approached system capacity. Some variables remained uncertain, despite extensive observation.